Epstein that mentioned the president. And we do want to be clear, the president, Trump, did not receive or send any of the messages, which largely predated his time as president. He's not been accused of any criminal wrongdoing in connection with Epstein or Maxwell. The White
Want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Hey.
Why this beat so cold?
We will make America proud again. When you try to kill our we will make America wealthy again. And yes, together, we will make America great again.
The hell with CNN.
And by the way, I never went to the island, and Bill Clinton went there supposedly 28 times. I never went to the island, but Larry Summers, I hear, went there. He was the head of Harvard. And many other people that are very big people. Nobody ever talks about them. I never had the privilege of going to his island. And I did turn it down, but a lot of people in Palm Beach were invited to his island. In one of my very good moments, I turned it down. I didn't want to go to his island. Yeah.
President Trump says he never visited Jeffrey Epstein's private island. Listen.
I never had the privilege of going to his island. And I did turn it down, but a lot of people in Palm Beach were invited to his island. In one of my very good moments, I turned it down. I didn't want to go to his island.
Yeah, buddy, we kind of covered this yesterday, but it just gets worse and worse and worse as things continue for the fake news media, CNN, you know, the mainstream media. And again, I told y'all, be ready, man. They're going to be retracting words, taking stuff back, scared of lawsuits, scared of, I'm telling y'all, man, they don't have any evidence to back up their claims. People just get up there with their Trump derangement syndrome and running that mouth. Good luck. But now, look, CNN is so terrified of getting crushed in court, they're now scrambling to fully clear President Trump of any Epstein-related wrongdoing. Look, I played this at the beginning of the show for a reason. Look.
That mentioned the president. And we do want to be clear, the president, Trump, did not receive or send any of the messages, which largely predated his time as president. He's not been accused of any criminal wrongdoing in connection with Epstein or Maxwell. The White
Man, I told y'all, let everything play out. Same with everything that's going on. You know, it's only been 10 months. Let everything play out. I know you're not happy with this. You might love this. You might love that the administration did this. You might not like that did this. You might not like that Pam Bondi did that and that they had people out there holding up a binder in a photo op. But let everything play out, y'all. You know. And I tell you, the truth might actually be exposed in broad daylight. The truth will prevail, I believe. Just let everything play out, you know. But it ain't looking good for CNN, as it always. It just never looks good for CNN, you know. Especially when they bring this mess on. Look when they bring this clown on. Look.
This is an email from April 2nd, 2011. Republicans were saying that victim is Virginia Giuffre. As you know, she died by suicide. She's been very outspoken victim of Jeffrey Epstein. Here's the email right here on your screen. She wrote a book, as you know, and she did not accuse him of any wrongdoing. What do you make of that? And can you confirm that?
Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, it's redacted who the victim is, so I won't necessarily take the Republicans' word on who it is that's redacted. And I don't know why they would necessarily redact someone's name who is deceased at this point.
The Democrats did that, though. The Democrats redacted.
No. I understand, okay, but I'm just saying, like, our biggest concern is to actually make sure that we are protecting victims. And obviously, she wrote a book. She told her truth.
Walk that. All you can do is play the clip, man. The clip speak for themselves, man. It all speaks for itself, you know.
Meeting today,
Republicans on Capitol Hill.
It all speaks for itself, you know. It all speaks for itself. There and all people are gonna post is there. It is. There it is. You know.
Ben?
I wish you guys gave this much thought and much obsession over this when Joe Biden was president. I wish you were asking for this much transparency when it wasn't about
Joe Biden was
attacking
there
a
more
president
ago.
of the United States of America
Joe
and
Biden
to
was
score
there more
political
ago.
points. I wish you guys cared about the victims as much as you care about trying to attack Donald Trump. When CNN's own reporting says, and I quote, the woman who is the survivor literally accused Democrats, not Republicans, of hiding her name because she had not alleged Trump
Wait, you're talking
to have
about
done
Virginia?
You're
You're talking about Virginia
Correct.
who we just talked about.
And my point is,
she died by, just to be clear, she
by
died
suicide.
by suicide.
But,
so that
but
was
she
before
accused Democrats when she was alive, her words, of hiding her name because she had not alleged Trump to have done anything wrong. That is how sick and partisan this has become. You guys didn't care about the victims. You didn't care about anything else. And now you're saying, well, maybe Donald Trump knew of a crime and maybe didn't report it. That's just straight up slander and libel.
No, it's not. No, it's not slander and libel. And let's
You're telling the. You just said that the president.
I let you finish.
Watched the crime.
You turn that glove. Turn that glove inside out.
Can I just clear one thing up? Because
Again, shout out to Ben Ferguson. What an amazing take on CNN. You know, I know, again, y'all, it's gotten to this point where it's just ignorance now. You know, and this is why people, they're saying, I'm done with it. People are sick of the ignorance. You know, because then you got the people over here that'll just say anything because they just simply hate the man and go with anything. And also say once you see them calling Trump a pedo, that they're saying this and that, and to whatever you believe and whatever you think, that's fine, But it has to be facts over feelings. Simple. And the things that y'all are saying, you don't have anything to back it up. And we've seen what's already put out there. And yeah, you might not like this about the administration. You might not like how they came out with this or that, or what Pam Bondi did, or Cash Patel, and and what they said this and what they promised. But let everything play out. It's only been 10 months. And we've seen what's already come out about all this. And I told you, it's only going to get worse, especially for these Democrats, as they try to pull every tooth and nail. But I'm hoping everything comes out, because the truth is going to set people free, man. It's going to set a lot of people free, boy. A lot of people free.
Connected to convicted. New details this morning. Hundreds of new pages have been unsealed in a lawsuit connected to convicted pedophile Jeffrey Epstein. The victim alleges that former President Clinton pressured Vanity Fair not to run a story on Epstein. The pages also shed new light on how Epstein's victims were recruited and what happened to them. CNN's Gene Cesaris joins us now. And Gene, we're talking about 900 pages here, so there's a lot to go through. What new details have come out?
Well, they came out last night combing through them. And, this all stems from a 2015 civil suit brought by Virginia Giuffre against Ghislaine Maxwell. And Virginia Giuffre had wanted her story to come out. She wanted a book. And so she became very close with a reporter out of Britain. And this reporter was encouraging her to go to the Vanity Fair magazine, to have them do an article on it. And here is what, in a newly undisclosed email from 2011, here's what Virginia Giuffre says. She says, considering that B. Clinton walked into VF, Vanity Fair, and threatened them not to write.
January 2024. Oh. CNN reports that according to in a 2011 email written by Virginia, Bill Clinton had stopped VR from writing article on Epstein. Exactly. 0 politicians cared about this story last year. 0 politicians care now. We're just going to expose it in broad daylight, y'all.
In another email, that prominent accusers who died by suicide in April and wrote in her book about how her father worked as a maintenance worker at Mar-a-Lago, and when Wolf about Donald Trump, saying that he had asked Epstein to resign his membership at Mar-a-Lago. Epstein wrote then and said, Trump said he asked me to resign, never a member ever. Of course he knew about the girls, as he asked Ghislaine to stop. That appears to be a reference to Maxwell recruiting employees at
person. Does that include Virginia Jeffrey?
I don't know. I think she worked at the spa. I think so. I think that was one of the people. Yeah, he stole her.
That damn Trump. Yeah.
In another email,
It's good to see our president, man. So much slander and so much Trump Ranger syndrome. I tell you, it's good to see our president every single day. We actually know who's running the country, whether you like it or not. Whether he take this country down to the ground, we actually know who's running it. We actually know who we can blame.
that was released today, Epstein wrote about a young woman that he claimed he and Donald Trump both dated in the 90s. With Epstein writing about his, quote, aides have been waging an intense pressure campaign of the newest member of the House, Congresswoman Adelita.
They have 218 signatures, that's fine.
The totally pointless exercise and completely moot. What do you make of his comments? Do you agree with those?
Well, the White House spent a lot of effort in the midst of a shutdown to stop a totally pointless exercise that's completely mute. And by the way, I got to give credit to Lauren Boebert to walk into the White House, the center of power, the free world, really, and to sustain that and to come back out and to be solid, and also to Nancy Mace and Marjorie Taylor Greene. There was all the speculation that they might take their names off, and they never did. So it's not a hoax. It's not a moot point. It is a very serious thing. There are 1,000 victims, and there are survivors who have had a press conference with Ro Khanna and I, and that's what we're fighting for, justice for them.
Did y'all talk to them?
Yeah, not a hoax, but Democrats made it a hoax. But it's still not a hoax, but Democrats made everything a hoax, everything about it a hoax. You know, all the movements, man, you know. Again, this is why people are sick of the ignorance, especially from the other side.
At any point during this, as the White House was making clear they were targeting these members?
I talked to them. I don't want to say which one I had this conversation.
People look at this and say, why is the White House fighting this as hard as they are, and you know, taking Lauren Boebert into the Situation Room, which is incredibly unusual based on my experience covering the White House.
They've really lost their way, because it was really Donald Trump, and more than Donald Trump, J.D. Vance, who in podcast after podcast said, release the Epstein files. And I give credit, of course, to the courage of Marjorie Taylor Greene, Nancy Mace, and Lauren Boebert. They met with the survivors. It was personal. But I also give credit to Congressman Thomas Massie. I mean, he's got 3 billionaires literally pouring millions of dollars in his race against him to take him out simply because he wants these files released, which the president campaigned on. And you know what? The left and right are agreeing on one thing. It's time to get rid of the Epstein class, these rich and powerful people who rig the rules for themselves and ignore forgotten Americans.
Oh boy.
So how many Republicans?
He's decided to accelerate the vote.
Parade, you might as well lead it. And so now he's saying, I want to have the vote. I do think that you could get 30, 40, 50 Republicans voting for it, because what are we talking about? We're talking about rich and powerful men who abused young girls.
Is a parliamentary procedure that's only available in the House. It's only been successful maybe 20.
This trap.
It's sad to me, because I actually didn't do this to score points against Donald Trump. I know Representative Massey didn't do it for that reason. We did it because we heard the stories of these survivors and we want justice for them. They're going to be out in front of the Capitol again on Tuesday. They were out about 2 months ago. And my guess is they're going to say the same thing. Mr. President, please meet with us. Listen to us. You can actually release these files. And I rather...
Members of the cabinet.
I looked at those emails there, and I don't think that implicates Trump any more than he's already been implicated. And I don't think he's trying to protect himself per se. I think he's beyond embarrassment. Look, I was in an oversight committee when we were arguing, should he have paid the prostitute he had an affair with through campaign funds, or should he have used his personal funds? He's beyond embarrassment. That's what these files could present to him. I think there are people who are criminally implicated that aren't Donald Trump, but they may be his friends, and I think that's who he's trying to protect.
So you think he's just trying to cover up for other people?
For other people, and also probably for our own intelligence agencies.
But when you read that email from the 2011 email that Jeffrey Epstein...
Yeah, man. Again, I want everything to come out, man. You know? And if this is that, hey, we got to call you out. Even if it's Trump, we're going to come on here and call Trump out. I tell you that. You know, this is why this is why we're advocating for full transparency, whether you like it or not. Full transparency for the American people, for the people around the world, man.
Epstein wrote to Ghislaine Maxwell.
And having pedophiles when they are sworn in within a week, and there was no reason to delay.
On how,
You know, they can come up here and talk good up on CNN, but you know, I'm ready for everything to come out, man. You know, and will we ever get that in this dirty world of politics? Just have to see, you know. But again, the ignorance from the other side, it's a disgrace, man. You know, and we're gonna come on here and call it out every single time. And this is why you see them backtracking. This is why you see them retract words. You know, you see them. We see how Melania got them to come out immediately. You know, just to stop with the crap, man. Stop with the gaslighting. You know, and the last 4 years, not a peep. No, you didn't care. Now you care. Now you're screaming to the top of your lungs. I mean, man. But hey, let me know what y'all think. We are rooting for full transparency and accountability, you know, and we'll see what comes out from this. Let everything play out, y'all. You know, we're going to let them get up on there and run their mouth. Some people are going to do this, say this. Trump the Running Syndrome is going to be on full display. Some will be hit with that big one up beside their head, and I hope they do. I hope many of them get bankrupt, sued out their shoes. Yeah, I do. I hope y'all get made an example out of. Some of the things that y'all get up there saying, you can't back it up. Even if you think this did this or did that, or you can't back it up. Sorry. But I hope everything comes out so the truth will set everybody free. But there's always a but, and you know why.